Thank you all, first and foremost, for being here today on this very special occasion. I already conveyed to you the official part of my speech during our huddles, so hopefully you'll enjoy the less official part, but I tell you it's going to be difficult to follow their Schnork's act. So I have a lot to learn from that. I also share with you the greetings of my parents, my mom and dad. Of course, they wanted to be here today, but I told them your other duty is much more important right now. I have a third baby niece, so they're taking care of the baby, but they'll be in Watertown very soon. It was a pleasure to meet today for the first time Der Arakel and Badveli and Yereskin as well. Well, you don't use Yereskin. Do you have a term for? Yes. Yeah, it's the first time I'm hearing that, see? So, welcome. And I had heard from Der Antranik about the fraternal relationship that exists in this community. Truly an example to all communities, and a tangible example of this cooperation was witnessed today because Badveli had worship in Worcester, and he drove all the way from there right after worship to not miss this occasion. But you were present from the beginning of Badarak, right? So thanks for that. And their Arakel, as you I'm sure noticed, it's their church bazaar today, right? So it was going to be a challenge for him to be here, but he still made it work. So thank you very much for that. Now, as your pastor, it's the first time I'm saying that, Yereskin. You mentioned it the other day, but it's official now. I do expect you, as your pastor, I do expect you to drive over after this meal to the bazaar and get some churex. They might be the second best, but they're still very good. So, of course, we had to let Hrant return and rest, as you all are aware. His Dira just recently passed away. I wanted to say a few words about him as well. He's truly been a great brother. It's not always that you're odzagits. So I've been using this word, but maybe it's the first time you hear it. So let me elaborate on it. When we get ordained, the ointment they put on your forehead and hands, odzum, we will call that in Armenian, right? Odzel, odzum, to anoint. Gitz means ko. So odzagitz, someone who has been anointed alongside you. So in the brotherhood of churches, you can have many brothers. So in the Cilician brotherhood, we are almost 60 now, but only a few of them were ordained at the same time as you were. And obviously that has a special significance. It's like having siblings and then having siblings who were born at the same time. And Hrant, I would describe him as rebel for life, although he has the kindest and sweetest heart, as you have already witnessed. Now moving on to Der Schnork. So there isn't much more to say. He told you the story. He's the first Canadian-born Armenian priest, the OG. I have to give the credit to him. But I can still revel in the fact that I'm the first Canadian-born Armenian Bartavet.
True.
But also, as he emphasized, hopefully not the last. This is something we've always mentioned, and I'm sure God will be working in mysterious ways. Now, he also told you about that anecdote. I had forgotten about it. Thank you for reminding me. The offer still stands, by the way. And even though Der Shenor is a priest in the Echmiazim church and myself in the Antilias church, or the branch, let's say, because it is just one church, one Armenian Orthodox church. And we are great friends. There still is something that divides us. Very deeply. Yes, right?
Chuzetsi.
So he's born in Toronto. I'm born in Montreal.
I know what it is.
And you know how serious that can get. Now, in his attempt to have the Leafs catch up in their number of Stanley Cups to the Habs, he had a shurchar prepared with leaves on it. So they would always be blessed from his badarak. It's helping a little bit, but we won't lose hope.
No.
Thanks for coming, by the way, all the way from Providence.
Like my credit card, they only last for one round.
There you go. And thanks for representing my aunt as well today. That means a lot. Now, before speaking about the last guest priest today, we actually have, if you allow me to introduce them as guest of honors to today's banquet. They are the only non-Armenian or also non-ABC. So I don't know if you know this term ABC, Armenian by choice. I learned it in New England. I had not heard of it in Canada. They are neither. So Mr. and Mrs. Ellen and Joel Gormley, if you can just stand up for a moment so everyone can see who you are, and then I'll share the story. Truly a funny story, right? So in December of last year, so in October I was supposed to return from my trip home, my vacation trip home in Montreal, back to Lebanon. But the situation in the Middle East was becoming very tense. A lot of airlines were canceling their flights. So His Holiness told me to stay there for now and do your ecumenical trips from Montreal, which is what I did. And then in December, the situation had calmed down, so Air Canada issued a new ticket, but the choice of airlines was limited, so it was going to be a longer route via Boston. I've never been to Boston before. I mean, as a family, we've driven by, never entered it before, and in the airport, in the lounge, I met this fine couple. Now, I don't know how the conversation started. We were just sitting across each other. I was getting some brownies. I think I offered some brownies, and that's how it started. And we had 4 hours to kill together. But it wasn't just because of convenience. It was a very interesting conversation we had. We covered everything about life, religion, irreligion, anything you can think of. I learned from them. I hope they from me. And at the end, when their time arrived to board their flight, Ellen gave me her card and said, next time you're in Boston, I want you to be my guest.
Wow.
Now, of course, it was a nice gesture, and I was very happy to receive it. I said, by all means. But I'm going to confess here that in my mind, I was thinking, when am I going to be in Boston again? And how am I going to see them again? So anyways, I kept my end of the promise. I didn't have any cards on me at the moment, so I wrote her an email. Nice to meet you, and God willing, one day. And then the next thing I hear from His Holiness when I arrived in Lebanon is, you know, I'm thinking of sending you to Boston. So, but meanwhile, we had some, I don't know what the email issue was, so we lost touch. I mean, we're trying to communicate, get in touch with each other, both sides. It's not working. And finally, Ellen didn't give up. She searched online. She found the article on our church's website about my installation. She called the church office. Ellen answered. Ellen, if you can stand up also for a moment. One of our board members who is there almost every day as a volunteer. So Ellen met Ellen, and the rest is history. So I'm going to visit them next week in Marblehead. They're going to be my first non-Armenian parishioners visit. We're going to get some great lobsters, I think, right? That's the time. So thank you for driving all the way here today.
That's so cool. Love them. What's that?
I hope you feel at home. You are always welcome here, no matter your background, national or religious. And there was another interesting connection between Jack and Christine. So Christine's dad and Joel worked together for a very long time at, yes, so what a small world. 23 years, wow. Incredible. Yeah. So I'm happy you're at the same table. So finally, I kept Hrant for the end. Because there is a surprise here, apparently. So, as he told you the story, we met in Lebanon. There was an international youth gathering taking place connected to the Taize movement. I don't know if you've heard of the Taize, T-A-I-Z-E. It's an ecumenical Christian community in France, so you can join this community, whatever denomination you come from. And they try to be a brotherhood that's ecumenical. And they also travel the world trying to spread ecumenism. Their songs and hymns are very popular. You can look them up online. Very simple to learn. So connected to that program, we had a gathering in Lebanon. And one thing Hrant didn't mention, he has been given by God a very beautiful voice, an operatic voice. So he can henceforth be known as the Pavarotti of Massachusetts. And from what I understand, he's going to offer a beautiful opera song to us today. Hrant, please. Thank you, everyone.